Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor, and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Virgo. If Virgo is your solar, lunar, ascendant/rising sign, then this is a message for you. All right, let's get started. And so tonight our card is the moon, which makes sense. Right at the peak of the new moon as I am recording this. And so let's see what these tea leaves have to say tonight. And if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit the little bell. It'll let you know when the next readings are coming out. It is free to subscribe. Okay. So, I want to start over here. We have this kind of motif of the serpent in this one for sure. But over here we have a person standing beneath a tree. And it almost looks like they're sitting. Kind of sitting there with their arm out a little bit. And I look at this and I think there's a feeling of just absolutely being protected in your life by the things that you have built. You have, planted the seeds for this tree, which is growing, wildly. It has been there for probably many years in the making, very rooted. Your life feels solid and in a place where everything kind of, you look around and you think, I did this for myself. I, of course, received many gifts along the way from the universe, but I've worked so very hard to get to this place where I am right now, and it is beautiful, and when I am hot, I am shaded by it, and when the winds, pull up and the rain starts falling, I go beneath. And I am kept out of the elements. And so, this is a beautiful, beautiful symbol to have in our in our readings. The trees are always one of my favorite because I know here you are continuing to do the best things that you can to work on that interior thing that you have going, that spirituality, your connection with the divine, and then it trickles down, doesn't it? It comes into the material aspects of our life, keeping our devotion to the work in our communities and our families, and making a little home for yourself, whatever that looks like. Our sense of home is varied to each of us, isn't it? It's different for as I like to say, there are as many ways to be devoted to the divine, or God, or goddess, or whatever you call it, as there are beings, in the universe. So it's individual for each. And so is the way that we perceive home and togetherness, and, what really feels like ours, right? When we've arrived in that place where it's like, okay, yes, I belong here. But I think that you have this sense of what you want, what you need, You've done the things to get there. Now, a lot of it is about maintaining, you know. A lot of it is about navigating the variables that come up. We all have these things, you know, every single day. There's something coming, going, lots of choices to be made, you know, just kind of doing the best that you can to make the choices that will benefit the life that you have worked so hard for. Okay. Now, I see a person here. And it looks like they're in a seated position. Almost looks like they're looking up. I imagine gazing at the stars. There's a flower, a beautiful flower growing behind them. It almost maybe looks like they are holding on to. And then we have a fish right here. So we know this is abundance. This is material resources, money, you know, the things that we need to fuel the lives that we are leading. And so I feel like for you, there's this connection between your faith, your spirituality, and your ability to create the resources that you need. I think that's very interconnected with you. I think that you go through your days in the space of being in the presence of spirit. There's not this disconnect. It's in, you know, all of your minutes, all of the hours of your waking life. And I think that you've probably, you know, at times in your life had work or a career within a field that it never felt alive for you. It was like, okay, this is my life. Now I have to put on my costume, you know, exit my life and go into this place where I have to, you know, pretend to be something that I'm not. Something I don't, I don't feel myself there, you know, but I do it because it's work, and we've all had these kinds of jobs. But I think that it absolutely became unsustainable for you. And I think that you knew, I have to find something, or you are coming to this understanding. I have to find something for myself in my life where I am able to express what I am, what I align with. And that's not to say that you have to be in a place where you're kind of preaching to other people or, you know, making it all about this aspect, but to go into a place where you have your personal interests, beliefs, passions, aesthetics, you know, whatever it is, and you feel comfortable here. You feel like it's a continuum of your real life, I guess you would say, real life, where you can be your authentic self. And so I think that this is where you flourish, because it's really hard to turn that on and off. It's really hard to not just be who you are, that every time you have to put that down or cover it up, it makes it very difficult to want to continue in that realm. You know, I can see, you know, where it's like, I absolutely don't, I feel like I'm, you know, kind of like that imposter syndrome, but it's like you are kind of the imposter for real. Like you're living as something you don't feel that you are. And, you know, we all understand that. We've all had to do these kinds of things, this kind of work. be in these shared spaces, or, you know, in jobs that there's, you know, certain images, or things are just really kind of devoid of any kind of culture. And, you know, they're out there, a lot. But I think that, you know, some people are fine in those situations, and it's easier because you go, you do your time, and then you come back, and then it's over, and that's fine, right? But then, you know, there are people, well, and I'm a Virgo too, you know, I get it. There are people that it just slowly, you cannot continue to, you get burnt out, right? You just do. It makes you weary in the soul. And so anyways, I think coming away from that, I feel that there is this beautiful kind of blooming of the flower. There's a sense of, we have this little, it looks like a person walking, and then, and I'm thinking another flower here, and I just kind of imagine going out, kind of as the hermit, you know, as the individual who is not afraid to go searching the depths, right? Knowing that there's more, and you would like to have some idea of what, right? You're not going to just sit around and think about it. You're going to go out there and look for it and find what is for you. And yes, you know, quite the work of the Virgo, isn't it? Okay, let's see. Okay, so we have, now we have the serpent here. You can see. But we also have the 2 here. We have a 2 here. We have a 2 here. So 3 2s. 2, 2, 2. We have a person who's kind of standing on top of the serpent on this side. And then we have a person sitting here, looking at another person here, very close. So with the person standing on top of the serpent, it makes me think of mastering the knowledge that you are bestowed, going into a place of transmutation of knowledge into wisdom. So the things that you learn, you don't just kind of keep neatly in a pocket, you know, as kind of a intellectual flex, but I think that you are a person who you find something and it speaks to you, it speaks to your heart, and you employ it into your life, the way that you live. You try the techniques, you consider the deeper meanings of the teachings, you know, you try things. You maybe try ritual, ceremony, mantras, and you know, postures and passes and whatever, you know, many things. There's so many things. But I think that you like to know. You like to know not only as kind of an armchair practitioner, but you are somebody who is fully in the thing, like the magician archetype. And so there is a sense of mastering knowledge here, making great use of it, having a deep devotion to the pursuit, and that's a beautiful thing. And you know, I don't think I've ever met a Virgo that wasn't and deeply interested in many things and fairly knowledgeable about a lot of stuff. I think that's, one of the huge attributes of being a Virgo. Okay, so we're looking at this now. I want to look at these two, and it feels almost like I feel like it's a person in meditation, and this almost seems like some kind of entity. It almost kind of reminds me of like ayahuasca, or like some kind of maybe extraterrestrial, something channeled, some kind of intelligence, a macrobe, possibly. Some interdimensional thing, whatever it is. It does, though. It reminds me of channeling. So I wonder if you have not been, well, maybe you are somebody who's, a medium, channeler, seer of some kind. But I do, I think that maybe you also are somebody who benefits from or would benefit from meditation, active imagination, where you do have, I think, fairly vivid visions, very detailed information coming through to you. And I would not be surprised if there are a few of you who comment that, like, yeah, I have, a guardian angel who manifests to me. I have, a daemon who has a persona, or, a form, or, whatever it is. There's something that comes and visits me in my dreams, a beloved or whatever else. And that would make sense. I mean, I feel this energy is very, it's familiar. There's a sense of, I've known you all my life, I think. I can't remember a time when you weren't coming to me. And it feels like almost like a good friend or like a family member. You can't imagine this life thing without having that interior relationship. Or maybe, like I said, maybe it does manifest in waking life. But it is a distinct personality. And I think that, if you explored this type of work, that you would probably connect with other entities for sure. But this is one that feels quite beloved. And this relates very much to the moon energy. Let me just say, I forgot to mention this, but this is definitely kind of in those, those dark nights, right? When you are up far past your bedtime, and there is a tickle of something amiss, right? Everything shifts just a little bit, and you're in that almost dreamy place, and this is where that kind of disembodied voice starts, kind of stepping slightly out of the shadow, and it's hard to perceive what is this. But then, in dreams, as you fall away from reality and that voice follows you into those dreamy places, and probably over time shows itself to you, or at least what it is, allowing you to see. And this is something that all too well, right? Has gone on for, like I said, maybe a long time, maybe most of your life. So that's very much that night side energy. That's kind of a bizarro, portal to go down. But it is a lot of us have these established relationships, And we don't even necessarily realize, oh, I just dream of this thing all the time, you know, or maybe once every few months, or when things start to change a lot, it starts to happen in my dreams more. And we don't necessarily think about, could this be some kind of intelligent being, or are they just like a dream? It's like a composite of something from my psyche presenting itself, you know. And I don't know. I don't know which it is. But, you know, it's interesting to think. One thing that I remember reading somewhere, or I saw a video, and they were talking about how, you know, we have no idea if we're interacting with humans online most of the time. Now we know a lot of times there are, you know, a lot of AI and that kind of thing, bots and things. But then there's the concept that there's consciousness, you know, existing in these sub-realities, and we could be talking to anything, you know, I mean, any kind of being, really, and you would never know. Yeah, I mean, how are you really gonna know? And that's, to me, I don't know, that's interesting. As somebody who's grown, you know, since my early teens, grown up on the internet in chat rooms and things, and so, you know, it is a strange, but, you know, even so, what the things that we experience in our dreams, I mean, sometimes I wonder, you know, is this me? Is this the collective unconscious, or is this something, you know, communicating? So we have a 2, we have a bird, we have a 2 again. We have so many 2s tonight. Lots of 2s coming through. So we do have the bird, and the bird, it seems like there almost feels like an urgency to it, but it doesn't feel like an urgent. It feels like there's an urgency, but there's nothing urgent about it, if that makes sense. And I feel like this is tied to maybe an anniversary of some kind of slightly traumatic event, maybe losing somebody you love, some kind of accident, or maybe a breakup, a breakup that was, you know, pretty significant. Something coming up in it, and I feel like it's kind of almost your body reminding you before your mind is like, well, why do I feel weird right now? I'm feeling more anxious lately, a little more, you know, maybe kind of frustrated or short-tempered, just not feeling super excited about whatever, anything. And you just kind of, it's like, I don't know what's going on. But then, yeah, it hits you. Okay, there's this anniversary coming up. There's this thing coming up. And so, you know, I think that this is reflecting in this feeling of like, okay, there's like a strong message coming through. It feels urgent, but it's not really that urgent, because it's something that we're in the kind of the shadow of it. It's already happened, and, you know, I think the bulk of it has happened. And so I think it's important when we get into these places, that we make sure that we are taking care of ourselves, okay, doing our routines, definitely, but also making sure that we're talking to people who are trusted to us, maybe reaching out to your supports, your confidants, you know, people who you feel like listen to, can hear you. And so, you know, I think that this is this is the biggest thing, is making sure that we don't carry this quietly with us. Because it does. It gets so much bigger and bigger over time. We can't just forget about these things. They don't just go away. You know, time may ease things, but it doesn't fix them. And so I think when you really begin to feel this and you remember and it becomes more clear, yes, then I think it's very important for you to dispel some of the stress of it all. And by talking, by creating, by journaling, you know, whatever it is that you do, employ that technique and put it to use. Okay, let's go ahead and we're going to take a look here at the Dreamer's deck. 40 affirmations for pursuing your dreams from the I Know collection. I'm going to go ahead. We're going to flip through here. I'm going to stop where it feels right. I'm going to turn this over. It says, I know that pure joy is the result of being in alignment with my soul. I am my true self. I am my true self. Okay. All right. I love it. I like these cards so much. I love these cards. I love them. And not just like. Okay. So Virgo, I'm going to go ahead and tell you I love you, because I do. And I thank you so much for spending this time with me. It is always such an honor to be able to bring these messages to you. And if you would be so kind as to like the video, it really does help the channel so much. And if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit the little bell. It'll let you know when the next videos are coming out. And if you'd like to leave a comment, please do. I read them all. All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll talk again real soon.